Hello my dear friends, you're in the Military with Summary channel, and this video we're going to discuss the situation in Israel and in Gaza. As you know, on the 7th of October, the Palestinian forces launched their special operation, their offensive operation. As a result of that attack, a lot of casualties, a lot of civilians were killed from both sides, either from the Palestinian side and from Israel side. And today, as we understand, on the 8th of October, we're going to see more clashes, more violence in this area. Obviously, the Israelis will try to counterattack, trying to restore the control over every single city. But as I just told, the first day has ended, and currently we can make some conclusions about the situation that took place from the 7th of October till 8th of October. And first of all, we are able to answer the question: what was the purpose of the first days of attacks, of the first attacks in this area, and so on? And first of all, to analyze the situation, we need to understand what exactly the Palestinians managed to achieve. And obviously, the most important success that they managed to achieve is that the Palestinian forces managed to capture and attack significant number of Israeli bases all over the border with Gaza. The first base, and probably the most important base that was attacked, is located on the border with Egypt. As a result of that attack, a lot of armored vehicles were captured, a lot of Merkava tanks were destroyed. Probably the Palestinian forces managed to capture some ammo depots, a lot of weapon, and so on. Of course, with the purpose to use this weapon against the Israeli forces in the future. The second base that was captured as a result of clashes was located in the city by the name of Be'eri. Also, as a result of those attacks, the Palestinian forces captured significant number of munition, of rounds, and so on. Another base that was captured was located in the vicinity of Nahal Oz. This is the second storm operation, and as a result of that operation, significant number of armored vehicles were captured by the Palestinian forces. Obviously, some of these armored vehicles were destroyed, that the Palestinians weren't able to evacuate or something like this, but obviously a significant number of these armored vehicles were captured and currently were redeployed in the area of Gaza. The second area of clashes and the second area of base that was captured, or at least some kind of munition rounds, took place in Kfar Aza. Later, the Israeli forces managed to return control over the city, but before they were able to regroup and send some reinforcement, the city was completely captured, and the city, in the end, the Palestinian forces were able to get as much as possible from this area. The second city and the second area that the Palestinian forces were storming is the border in the military base in the vicinity of the city Erez. On this video, there was a lot of clashes. The Palestinian forces managed to break the wall, to enter the entire base, to kill a lot of Israeli forces, soldiers, who were probably, most of them were sleeping. And as a result of those clashes, they also got significant number of ammo depot, of ammo and rounds, and so on. So that was the primary goals, the primary targets. First, to capture the bases where the Palestinian forces were able to get some heavy weapon, not just like light weapon, like machine guns, light guns, and so on, but like heavy weapon. The second target of the Palestinians was the cities, big cities around the Gaza. And one of the most important city was Sderot, where there was the most fierce clashes in this area. As a result of attack in this area, the Palestinians managed to capture the police office, and there were a lot of casualties among civilians in this area. They captured police office, and obviously we understand that there were a lot of ammo in that police office. Furthermore, the sources are saying that the Palestinians captured 20 Israeli police officers, and they killed them. So that was the situation in this area. Another city with heavy clashes is the city between Gaza and, let's say, Tel Aviv. We are talking about the city by the name of Ashkelon. As I understand, we haven't received nothing about police departments and offices in this area, but obviously the main purpose of Palestinian forces in this area was the same: to capture police office and to get as much as possible rounds, munition, and bodyguard equipment, and so on. More attacks. Also, there were attacks in direction from Gaza, and the Palestinians managed to get very close to the cities like Afakim Probably the main purpose of that attack also was to get inside of the police departments and to get weapons from there. Nitivot, there were clashes in this area, and the sources are saying that the Palestinian forces even managed to get as far as possible and to enter the city by the name of Mishar Hanigev. Also, as I understand, the main purpose of that attack was to capture police departments. We don't have any information whether they were able to do this or not, but during this very short period of time with mobile groups, they entered every single city and tried to get as much as possible. During the entire day, the Israeli forces were trying to regroup. First of all, they were trying to step back because they didn't want to get losses, because there were very fierce clashes on the border with Gaza and significant number of losses. So that's why the Israeli authority took a decision to step back for regrouping. They started calling more people, and somewhere in the evening of the local time, we start receiving the first updates regarding the regrouping, regarding the forces, and the first video shown us the convoys of Israeli tanks that were heading in direction of Gaza. You know that now, after the special military operation, during the special military operation in Ukraine, we forgot about such a view, such a pictures, because if we saw something like this in Ukraine, obviously this convoy would be destroyed in a few seconds. But we see that currently the Palestinian forces don't have this experience. Obviously, if this war is going to take place time more than 1 or 2 days, obviously we are not going to see such a convoys in the future, because they would be destroyed immediately by FPV drones and all types of weapons the both sides have. Furthermore, the Israeli sources published a video of heavy artillery systems that also were heading to the combat line. All these videos with armored vehicles means just one thing, that Israelis are not going to attack the Gaza just with air bombs and aircraft. Probably the Israeli forces are going to launch the ground operation, and obviously this is the main purpose of Gaza provocation that took place on the 7th of October. So to force the Israeli army to enter Gaza and to start ground operation. Obviously this will lead to significant losses from the Israeli forces. During the entire day, yesterday and on the 7th of October, and during the night of the 9th of October, the Israeli forces were bombing, and the Israeli air forces were bombing Gaza heavily. There were a lot of videos with destroyed buildings, with a lot of bombings and so on. And on this video we can see how the reporter was making some live stream, and then there was a very heavy explosion on the top, on the roof of the building. The Israeli authorities reported that all these explosions took place, all these attacks took place against the bases of Hamas. But very difficult to understand, to realize that Hamas were control all those buildings. Obviously, there were a lot of civilians, but the Israeli authorities have already asked people to evacuate from this area, the civilians, because, as I understand, they're going to reduce this entire area till ruins. After the Israeli authorities started bombing and attacking Gaza, the Palestinian forces launched another wave of missile attack against the territory of Israel, and as a result of those attacks, as you can see, all these missiles were unguided, so they were attacking and they were flying whatever they liked. A lot of missiles, probably the sources are saying that more than 150 missiles were launched against the territory of Israel, and as a result of those strikes there were a lot of explosions and they managed to deal significant damage, and most of the missiles were heading in direction of Tel Aviv. And we got a lot of geolocations, a lot of videos from the city with explosions, with results, with fire. So of course it's not the same when comparing these pictures with the aircraft bombings of Gaza, but anyway, I believe that people inside of Tel Aviv are not used to this picture, such like heavy explosions, because they used to like iron shield to protect them and so on. But now the situation completely different. The Israeli air defense was over-tested, overstressed, and of course I believe that in time they will be able to handle with the situation. But the previous day was very difficult for Israeli air defense system. The sources are saying that as a result of clashes, artillery bombings in this area, the Israeli lost around 300 people, including military and civilians, and more than 1,500 were wounded, and so on. Furthermore, the Hamas sources reported that they managed to capture a significant number of civilians and redeploy them on the territory of Gaza. So they're planning to use them as hostages for some trade process, because Gaza understand that the next step of Israeli army is to bomb this city heavily, and they want to use the civilians to force Israeli not to do this. We'll see whether it's going to help them or not, but anyway, this is going to be a very difficult and very probably can't say that interesting day, but anyway, very difficult day for both sides. Furthermore, the sources published some information regarding the armored vehicles that the Israeli forces, the Palestinian forces managed to capture. And I know that they managed to capture a significant number of armored vehicles, light vehicles, Humvees, trucks, and so on. The sources are saying that the Palestinian forces managed to capture more than 40 pieces of armored vehicles, including even tanks. Obviously, all of these units were redeployed on the territory of Gaza, and Palestinians will try to use them to fight against the Israeli invaders who will try to make a landing operation. And we can say that the landing operation has already started, because the Israeli authorities have already cut off this territory from electricity. Obviously, this is the first step, but we understand that Gaza probably have already prepared to this situation, were prepared to this situation, and obviously they have significant number of generators, and currently I don't think that the Hamas has any problems with electricity in this area. During the night we got a lot of updates that Israeli forces managed to return control over the cities like Reim, over the cities like Faraza, and many other cities where they restored control over. Furthermore, we got a lot of updates from Sderot. We got moving tanks, Merkava 4 in Sderot, so which confirms about some stabilization of the situation in this area. I'll remind you, this is the city where the Palestinian forces captured police department and killed up to 20 police officers, according to official data we have. So we have another video with Merkava from the same area. We have the video how the Israeli truck was trying to destroy building or to ruin building to get some access to the positions of the Palestinian forces, and so on. So obviously the Israeli forces authorities are saying that they managed to restore control, but as I understand, the Palestinian forces captured the munition depots, ammo depots, and basically returned back to the territory of Gaza, because they understand that today is going to start the second day of war. And of course, most of the military experts are saying that Gaza doesn't have any chances against the forces of Israeli, but we understand that Gaza is not planning to fight with Israel alone. We know that there is Iran, Egypt, there is Syria, there is Lebanon. So obviously, if the situation is going to escalate more, there are very high chances that these countries will be involved into this conflict, and then this is going to be a completely different situation. So we're gonna wait. Today we're gonna see more clashes, more losses from both sides, and obviously the day is going to be very tough and very difficult. The thing that we obviously need to show also that, for example, the sources were saying that the Israeli forces have already entered the Gaza sector from the north, and on this video we can see how the Palestinian forces tracked the armored vehicles of Israeli, and after that they launched anti-tank weapon, and as a result of attack with this anti-tank weapon, one of the armored vehicle of armored forces of Israeli was destroyed. So this is very important update. So basically we need to understand that the most important things are just in front of us. As soon as Israeli forces will accumulate and concentrate their forces on the border with Gaza, probably we're going to see the second stage of this operation from Gaza. they will use a significant number of FPV drones, anti-tank weapon. Furthermore, don't forget, and probably you know that during the previous night there was an update that the Israeli forces managed to shut down up to four the Palestinian forces managed to shut down up to 4 Israeli helicopters. And another important thing, that most of the updates are coming from, let's say, from the central part, from the area between Netivot and the city by the name of Sderot and Ashkaron. But for example, we haven't received any updates from the southern part of Gaza and Israel, from the cities like Sde, Avraham, near Izhak, and the area where the Palestinian forces managed to capture the border, like detachment, the boarding military base of Israeli forces. There are also some base probably, and this is the area where Gaza forces are trying to dig in deeper and to prepare themselves before the next wave of attack from Israeli forces. So we'll see what is going to be next. Furthermore, don't forget that Benjamin Netanyahu is very, very serious about the situation. Obviously, it was a very big defeat of him, and probably he wants to restore his reputation. And obviously, he's very angry. And obviously, under control of this leader, Israel will try to reduce Gaza as much as possible. Will reduce this sector, this territory, to ruins, probably with one purpose: to restore his own reputation. And that's it for today. Military Summary channel reminds you to condemn any violence in the world. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes, join my Patreon, and have a good day. Bye bye.